And it's 2022, February 1st. Hi, Roberta.
Hi, Laura.
I
What an eventful beginning to the year. How about you?
always, you have all these great expectations. You have all these great things you think the year is going to bring to you. And then you get through the first month and you're like, oh my gosh, can't believe it's already February, right? And so we wanted to talk about this dynamic of, how are we going to set the stage for a great year? And given that we've already been through this year and this expectation period.
Yes, this crazy period where somehow the world conspires to say you should change your life in 86 ways simultaneously and really go for the gusto in every one of those 86 areas. And it really is a setup for failure in most cases because we want to believe it's possible. We want to think we can do it, but it's crazy. It's crazy to do that. So if that happened to you, let yourself off the hook. It was a crazy idea.
Yeah. And you know what? This year, I feel like it's been a little different. I haven't heard too many people talking about resolutions, although I still think people have that energy of like, oh, it's going to be a different year. I feel really good about the year. The energy, something's different this year, right?
Right. Well, every year is like back to school in January, you get new pencils and new books and you start fresh and you do all of that. But, you can't also lose 50 pounds, go to the gym every day, um, clean out all your closets, start a new diet. I like when you start to think that you can do all of those things simultaneously, you know that you have succumbed to marketing messages that whatever you were doing last year was definitely not good enough.
Yeah. And also, you've succumbed to kind of maybe a pattern of um, setting yourself up for failure or thinking, that just because it's a new year, something's going to be different.
Yeah.
I think people need to really rethink, and this can happen at any time of the year. What you can create your life at any time in any way with a few key tools.
hmm And I
And
was saying to a client yesterday, she was there was a new exercise bicycle in her background. And I said, "Oh, you got an exercise bicycle." "Oh, yes, 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 and already I haven't used it."
of course, right?
And I said to her, "So is going to become a clothes rack soon, is it?" And she said, "Oh, probably." I said, "Well, what are you doing about it?" She said, "Well, I set myself the goal of riding it for a half hour a day." I said, "Well, why don't you set yourself the goal of riding it for 5 minutes a day?" And you could just see her visibly relax, like, "Oh, I could do that 5 minutes, but I can't get my head around a half hour,"
Mhm.
right? And
Right?
I think, I wrote a little book a long time ago, 20 years ago, called Pack Your Own Parachute. And we've talked about it here that I recommend that we do things in TDDCs, which is teeny tiny doable chunks. And so, I was saying to her, I also wrote a book called How to Eat an Elephant, which is really like not about trying to eat the whole thing at, one sitting, just a tablespoon at a time. But marketing messages work against that. Like you got the big you should, which is terrible. You should have this as a goal. You should be wanting to do this. You need to change this. If you cared about yourself, you would. I mean, those are marketing messages, folks. That's to get you to change your thinking and buy something to help you do what they told you need to do. Um, think about it in an organic way. What would work for me? What would actually work for me? Not what should work for me if I were a better, more determined and organized person. What will work for me?
Yeah. And when we do that, then wait for the answer. Don't expect that the answer is going to be there right away. And it's okay to sit with the question, because I think the question is way more powerful to say, yeah, what is my life going to be about? What do I want to create? And you might not be in the mood. You may need to see, you need to, it's like turning on the antenna, the question. And getting the fine tuning to the signal to connect might take a little time, and it's okay. Like we take off the pressure on ourselves. I think
Yeah.
it's like a gift, and it can give more fulfillment, more results, and the true direction that your soul really wants to take versus a conjured one like, this is my goal this year, right?
Yes. And it can be something simple I experience in my own life. Like I'll see, oh, there was a piece of wrapping in my kitchen on the counter. And each time I walk by it, which was 2 or 3 times this morning, because I just cut it off something, right? And I thought my old pattern would be, "Oh, the kitchen's messy." But all I did was say, "I could just take care of that one thing," right? And it's that kind of idea that you're walking by something and you take it from where it is to where it's supposed to be. You don't have to clean the entire thing, but you do one thing. And then you start to see that, oh, this is not so hard. Maybe
Right.
you do 2 things.
And then you have energy for more things after that without putting
Yeah.
pressure on yourself.
And I think too that we have this mentality thrust upon us that if we do it correctly, we're going to get it all done in a day. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the eating an elephant 1 tablespoon at a time. And I think that's what gets us to where we want to go, not try and do it or try and get it done in that time frame, don't do it well, and then beat ourselves up because it's not done well, right?
Right.
There's so much that we get told about the should messages. Like if you were a good person, if you were an organized person, if you were an aware, creative, intelligent person, then of course you would do this. No, you're a unique individual. Get in touch with yourself. What works for me? How can I ensure that I will actually get something done, move toward my goal, and the time frame will be my own. So if you have set yourself up for that, we're going to exercise every day or 3 times a week or whatever it is, and you're not doing it, check to see, is that feasible? Is that too long? Would I enjoy it or have I made it into a chore? How do I set myself up to do what I believe is the next best step for me? Not from the outside in, but from the inside out.
I often recommend people set yourself up to win, but make it like under expect, right? Like make it so doable that you can overachieve.
Yeah, good
Like
point.
if you think it's going to take you an hour, book 3 hours in your calendar. Same thing with arriving places and things like that. But I love doing that for things that I want to accomplish because then I feel like I'm like I've achieved and I have time to do something extra, or I can squeeze in something else and I can get it done. And I've not overscheduled myself. I think we're our own best saboteurs, and we have fears of success, and we have fears of not being able or good enough and not being able to get stuff done. So we kind of put roadblocks in the way. And I think, if there's something we can do in 2022 is let go of some things that don't serve us anymore. And if we start seeing that, you set some stuff up for January and you see, oh, I didn't do it. Good. The awareness is good. Let's celebrate it and then say, how can I recalibrate? How start with a blank canvas, February 2022, right? And now what do I want to create? Knowing that I don't have to overachieve. I don't, and these fears may not, I've identified these fears. And maybe that's all you do in February is identify fears. Look back on January, look back on 2021, right?
Hmm. Well, I think the title for today says so much. You do you, because don't do what Facebook people are shaming you into, or somebody's offhanded comment hit home and made you feel inadequate.
Right.
And really get in touch with it. Like, who's driving your bus? Are you driving the bus, or are a whole lot of other people trying to take the wheel? And then you think, oh, maybe my driving isn't good enough. Really personalize your choices to your values. Like, we've talked about that before, Laura, but I find with my clients, once they, of course, they're going through the, is this really what's happening in my relationship? I don't think I can stand it. Should I go? Should I stay? How do I get out of this, right? And execute my exit. But then when they get on the other side of that, then we get into these kinds of questions. Because if we're being driven by outside influences telling us that we're inadequate, and you come out of a toxic relationship where the other person was very happy to tell you in which ways you were inadequate, you have to recalibrate. And in that recalibration, you have to look at your values. So basically, are you living your values? If it's important to you, then you would be spending your time with it. And you can tell by your calendar. They always used to say, I remember saying it myself when I used to speak a lot, is you can tell what you value by looking at your checkbook and your calendar. Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money? Well, are they in alignment with what you say you value? And maybe that's another good place to start.
Yeah, it's what are your values and where are you not, living them? And if you're all out of alignment, no wonder things may feel kind of cranky or, like things aren't going the way that you feel like they should. And then, I think it's a really hard shift if you're in a habit of not living in your values. And so we don't want to make light of it and say, oh, just, change what you do. It's an evaluation process. You may want to get some support through this. There's nothing wrong here. It's just start with an intention, paint your year canvas with your intention. Maybe it's to get into alignment. Give yourself the year, give yourself time or whatever it's going to take to really explore how have you been living and what do you really want to, and take your teeny tiny doable steps that you stay right, because
Yeah.
taking one step is kind of a chain reaction. It's in the right direction. I find especially visionary people have this grand vision and they get thwarted if their one giant step doesn't work. And then they're like, it's the big excuse for nothing working in their life or this area of their life not working. But that's a pattern.
And then they start using that to give themselves their self-talk messages of inadequacy, or I'm overwhelmed, or, a whole range of things. If you start with your top value, if you spend some time to know what your top value is, and then you put something in motion there, then, maybe the next month you put something in motion for your second value. I always encourage people to put their values in order. What's most important to me, too, of my values, I have a whole system for this, but the reason being that it makes decision making easier. If I know that my top value is family, and then I look at my checkbook and my calendar, and I'm really, really busy and I seldom see my family, whoops, disconnect. So maybe I start saying, I'm going to set up a family Zoom once a month, or whatever it is that would really promote that top value, put that one in place. Or as Stephen Covey or whoever he stole the idea from said, put in the big rocks first. If you have a jar, put the big rocks in, then the medium-sized rocks, then the sand, then the water. Then you get a lot more in. So what are the big rocks in your life? Your values. And then how am I living those values? How do I demonstrate I value that every day? And as you do it incrementally, as you were suggesting, figure it out, implement a little, figure out the next step, implement a little, keep implementing from the first one, and then you actually see progress and you feel lighter and lighter, and you've kind of taken back the wheel of your own life. And yay, let's do that.
Yes, and I'm glad we're saying this because so many thought leaders, so many internet marketers are pitching the big result. Get the grandiose whatever you want in your life. It's, and it's like candy. It's like a drug. You want that. Yeah, 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 but it's not actionable. For most
Or
people, it's
or
not.
you should, like somebody told you you should do that. If you want to be successful, you should do this, whatever the top of their mind is. But you could find somebody who would tell you just the opposite, you know, and which is why calibrate for yourself. Just because one of these big people says, well, if you want success, you must have this 3-part plan. Well, do you? Could I have one quarter of it and it would be beneficial for me? Become discerning. I guess that's what we're saying, isn't it, Laura?
I think so. What's funny is we saw internet marketing going like, yeah, you can make a livelihood and, build your business. And then it went to build a 6-figure business. Now it's build a 7-figure business. Then it's now like, this is for 8-figure businesses and beyond. I'm like, how much money do you need? And how many people are you going to really help? And, it just seems very, addictive. There's a slimy feel to all of that marketing, right?
Yeah. Oh, I certainly agree. And then the bottom falls out because you find that those great statues have sand for their feet, they're telling you what to do, but they're not doing it. And so it was like the financial planner is always telling you what to do, and then they go bankrupt.
Well, and
It,
even if they are doing it, it doesn't mean it's actionable for you. It doesn't mean that it fits in your values. It's a
no.
should. It becomes that should again. If it becomes that like big greedy eye, dollar signs in my eyes versus what is the truth here? Do I really want to spend all my time doing their system, their way, and spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on them to maybe or maybe not be able to enact their plan?
Exactly.
It's a big risk, and it's very exciting, and I think they hook you with the excitement and the potential, but the reality is, what is your soul craving, and what is the next small step that you need to get to be positioned? And maybe you're a big step taker, and that's okay. Just look at the pattern and see if it works.
Mm. Well, I think we can use the decluttering model.
Okay.
You don't do it all in the same day because you overwhelm yourself. But if you can do, like I had a client once who, she was a client on the phone, so I never saw her. But after talking to her for a while, I said, I hope this doesn't sound rude, but I'm going to take a guess at how you look and how you live. And I said, I would guess that you're significantly overweight and that your home has pathways to the microwave and the television and the bedroom. And she said, oh, that's exactly how I live. And she was very unhappy. So I said, let's just do something small. Commit to cleaning, everything below eye level. Commit to cleaning 3 square feet a day and put the things that are in that 3 cubic feet rather a day, in that 3 cubic feet, put them in their designated final resting place. And so it was doable. And she did. And then she told me, she said, I did that. It was 2 weeks interval since I saw her. I did that. And I don't know how it happened, but I lost 5 pounds. Well, you got up off the chair and you went somewhere besides the microwave, right? And she was thrilled, by the time we finished working together. there was all kinds of stuff that was gone from her apartment. She was happier. She lost 50 pounds. She did all these things, but it was that incremental 3 cubic feet, right? And that didn't count airspace, 3 cubic feet of counter or desk or whatever it was. And she eventually got it all done. But the pressure was not there that she was terrible if she hadn't got it done yet. And I really invite everybody to adopt that principle.
And if 3 cubic feet is too much, do 2, do
Yeah.
1. Like there's no magic. You have to,
No.
make a game of it. I'm finding that when I make a game of things, I'm able to step into it literally more fun because there's no consequence. Okay, game, some we win, some we lose. Right. And we're going to just play. So I may attempt to clean a 3 cubic square foot, a 3 cubic foot, area and realize, oh, I need a label maker. Oh, I need to clear out this file cabinet so it can go into that. Okay, great. So tomorrow I'll clear out the other place or,
Yeah.
and I like the idea of a little bit every day or whenever, a little bit at a time versus I'm going to set aside a week or a day or this or that. You can do that. But again, you have this huge expectation. And what if something happens or you're not able to get into the mojo of it? Like
Yeah.
I like the teeny tiny, if anything we take away from today, it's like, whatever you're creating in 2022, what's the first teeny tiny doable? I love that doable step.
Yeah. I call them doable chunks. But yeah, I mean, it allows you to feel successful. If you're sitting watching TV, why not take a drawer on your lap and tidy it? Something like that. It can be that simple.
Yep.
Or start by reading, I've forgotten her name already, Marie Kondo. What if I just fold my underwear differently and see how the drawer looks? As long as you're moving forward, it's a good day.
I made a game, 20 things. My 20 things game is, and I haven't, won it yet, but I, like you said, I'm moving forward. It's like, are there 20 books I can let go of? Are there 20 pieces of clothing I can let go of? Are there 20 cosmetics, toiletries, or, moisturizers or whatever jars that are just like this much full that I can let go of, right?
Yeah.
So, and the game is working because even though I'm not getting to 20, I'm getting to 3 or 5, and it's happening consistently.
Right.
And
you see the things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You see the things in your home in a different light.
Yes.
Like, is that a potential thing I could be rid of rather than, oh, I should keep that.
Yeah. So I can win the game. And some days it's like, no, not ready to let that go, or no, there's some reason I'm keeping it. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it. And maybe the game has to, and I'm in the game query, like, does the game have to change? Do I need, and what do I need to make more space? Do I need a shredder? Do I need a file cabinet? Do I need more labels? Something. So, and then when can I make that appointment to with myself to take the stuff that needs shredding out to the shredder, right?
Yes. Or do what I do. I have a shredder. It sits by the mail, but I also have a postal annex close by. So I keep one banker's box that I just keep putting all the shredding in. And then I take it there for $15. They shred it, and I don't have to waste any time at all on it. Right.
I heard that Staples does $1 a pound or something like that. They'll shred $1 a pound.
You're right. Well, the postal annex is $15 for a banker's box.
Nice. Perfect.
The same amount. I mean, because it definitely was more than 15 pounds. But they charge by the pound, I think 79 cents a pound. But when you get to a banker's box full, it's a straight $15, and it's much more and much heavier than 15 pounds.
Awesome.
So, but it works for me because I don't have the time to sit there with the shredder. But if you like sitting there with the shredder and it makes you feel satisfied you got something, well, find a streamlined way to do something different. But I think our point today is spend no time beating yourself up. Just say, how could I move forward in small, systematic, incrementally growing ways?
Mm.
So that maybe I do the same thing and then I add one more thing that I do in another arena, and I actually end up doing it my way. It's satisfying to me. It makes me happy and I feel accomplished. And I feel like I was playing on my own team. I did something for myself and I like it.
I
Right?
love that. Play on your own team. Make 2022 the year you play on your own team.
Yes. So I hope we've brought some ideas to you today that you can back off with that taskmaster from the outside saying you must, you should, and decide what's important to you and make it important by spending 20 minutes a day doing something.
I promise you'll feel much better about yourself.
You will for sure.
I love it. Thank you, Roberta.
Thanks, Laura.
I'll be back soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.